We're 6 squares in to the Modern Guide to Granny Squares, and my work in progress bag is still a work in progress. But I'm here for another episode of Granny Square Sunday. Hey, it's Tammy, Crafty Mompreneur. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Today is another episode of Granny Square Sunday where I am doing all things Granny Square related. And today I'm showing you the 3 squares that I've crocheted from the Modern Guide to Granny Squares. This is the book that I'm currently crocheting all the squares from. Also going to show you the progress on my work in progress bag, which is a project from when I crocheted all 50 squares from this Granny Square card deck. And then we're going to just quickly take a look at the squares I'm going to be working on this week. And my goal is to do at least 2 to 3 squares a week so that we can get through all the squares that I want to make in 2025. So let's get to the video. So in last week's episode, I sneak peeked you with this yarn, and there were some of you that guessed correctly. So let me show you those squares. I don't think that I have any clips for you from crocheting these squares. Because it was a very busy week. I had a market this weekend that I just really wasn't prepared for. I kind of didn't really crochet much for markets over the last few weeks. And so I didn't have much inventory for that market. And let's just say it showed in my display. But we'll save that for another video because today we're just talking granny squares. So first up are the squares that I crocheted this week. And you were right if you guessed that it was a Valentine's theme. I saw a couple of the squares in the book, and what I've been doing is I will pick a square, look at the squares that are related in the book, and crochet the ones there. So the first square that kind of like spurred the whole like theme was this one. And I will tell you that it took me a while to get used to figure out what the heck was going on with the color changes and making of these hearts. So these hearts here don't even really look like hearts. And I think I got better at them by the time I got to this outer rim. But yeah, these first ones were not looking very heart-like. But I was not about to redo it. I think that one's okay. But I definitely got better towards the outside, and these on the outside look pretty good. So yeah, that one is called Scattered Hearts. I had picked this square to do, and then the sugar flower was one of the recommended ones. Okay, so this is the sugar flower, and then here is my version. I would say it looks pretty spot on, don't you think? This one was a little bit tricky. Doing these, I've never done this kind of 3D flower thing. And I will say this was pretty tricky for me. So out of, actually 2 of these squares this week were pretty twicky. Oh my goodness. Anyways, look at the back. This business here was hard for me. But, you know, I guess the whole thing is to try and challenge myself, and boy, this one challenged me. But I love it. It's so pretty. I don't even know what to do with it though. And then the other one that I did that was recommended on Sugar Flower was, oh, here it is. The single color granny square is the other one I did. Now, I have a question for you guys that are experienced with granny squares and this particular single color granny square. Why? This is an honest question that I have because I really don't know why it is this way. But why is it with this granny square, you have to go on the wrong side? So this pattern calls for you to go, you do a round and then you go back around. And I found that to be really kind of confusing because by the time you got around and then you flipped it around, then you had, it's so confusing to me. So just as an example, I hope I can read this. I don't have my glasses. So ending the first round, it says loosely slip stitch back to the 2 chain space, which is the corner space, right? And so by the time you get to the outer ring, like you get a few rows in, I felt like I was having to slip stitch back like a long ways because the slip stitch was always the start of the next round. And so I really struggled with why it was this way with this particular square. And maybe I did it wrong. I'm not really sure. But I didn't understand why we just couldn't keep going around and why we had to go to the wrong side. Does that even make sense? Anyways, I mean, it is pretty and it worked out. And I will say that when I finished this one, it was quite a bit smaller. And even when I like stretched it out a little bit, I didn't feel like it was going to be, see, even now, it's still smaller. And even when it's blocked, I mean, I guess it'll stretch out to be big enough, but I don't know. But these are the squares for this week. And now, which brings our granny square total up to 6 for the year so far. While we are still on the topic of the book, The Modern Guide to Granny Squares, I thought I would go ahead and share with you the squares I'm going to be doing for next week. The way that I picked this week's squares is I was like thumbing through them and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I gave my book to my husband and I said, will you just pick a granny square for me to crochet this week? And then I will pick the recommended ones. And so he did. And he picked the warm tones, which is this one. So this is one of the granny squares that I'm going to be crocheting next week, as well as this one. And then I'll figure out the third one, or I might just do 2. I'm not really sure. I just need to do 2 or 3 every week to stay on schedule. So those are the squares that I'm going to be doing for next week. And I think I'm going to leave the yarn that I use as a surprise. I will tell you that I don't really have the same colors. I don't really have these colors, but I'm going to get as close to them as possible because I am on a no buy yarn for as long as I can mission. So I'm going to just use what I have. Now we're going to look at a granny square project that I have been working on for the last couple of weeks, and I'm finally getting to the point where it's actually looking like something. If you followed the series of when I crocheted all the 50 squares from the Claire Montgomerie card deck, I categorized all the cards into separate piles based on the colors that kind of went together. The first project that I did was a pin cushion. So you can see that video here. I'm currently working on the second project from those granny squares, and I finally made some progress on it. So I'm going to share some clips with you of the work that I did on that bag this week. And then once you see all those clips, I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you where I'm at. And I'm going to need some of your feedback to get to the next step to finish this bag.
The squares have been blocked and I got it relaid out the way I want it. Let's see them all. And now I'm going to figure out, I'm going to go ahead and start connecting them all. And that's probably what we're going to be doing in most of today's video. So I haven't weaved in ends or anything like that. I'm not worried about that. I'm thinking I want to single crochet them together. I don't know what an invisible join would look like. I'm thinking single crochet them together. I don't know. I have no idea if this is how I'm supposed to do this, but I'm just gonna run with it because I kind of just want to see what color to use. Those of you that are familiar with this process are probably going to tell me I'm doing this completely wrong, and that's okay. But I just want to see what it's going to look like if I do a single crochet join as opposed to an original or a invisible join. I kind of need the easiest here. So let's try and see what this is going to look like. 2 in the corner. I'm just going to see. They should all line up because they were from the card deck. So we'll see. I don't know if I love that. Okay, I don't want that. I might be going with an invisible join. Okay, so I'm just going to get a piece of yarn and invisible join one and see if I like that better. And so with the invisible join, I guess you put wrong sides together. I had to look this up because I don't really know. How do you, oh, okay, you have to go back loops. I'm just gonna attach the yarn. I don't really know how you start this. We'll just do this. Your girl is not savvy with granny squares. And it doesn't really matter how these go. So I guess you do back loops, which would technically be front loops, I guess. I don't really know what in the actual Jiminy Christmas here. Let's see if we even like this. Oh, yeah, I think I need to do back loops like that. Okay, I'm gonna go do my first one and I'll be back to show you. All right, I finished my first one. It didn't take as long as I thought once I sat down and was able to see the stitches better. So I'm just gonna start connecting these, and when I get a little further, I will come back and show you, but this is the project for today. Okay, back with my first update. I have connected this first row, all these, and trying to decide if I want to just go continue on here and here, and then just tie that off, and then go this way. I don't know. Gosh. Okay, I think I'm just gonna tie it off and continue on and connect this row to this, and then this row to all of it, and then I'll have that whole center piece done. That's what I'm gonna do. And if you guys have other ideas on what would make this easier, feel free to drop them in the comments, because this is the first time I'm doing this kind of project, and so any tips that you have would probably help me for the next project and anybody else that may be watching this video. So this is just how I'm doing it, and I want to try and get this done today. I'm gonna get all these, that's my goal, is by the end of this video have all of these connected and ready to make a liner this week for them, and the handles. So that's the plan. I'll be back with my next check-in. Okay, I'm through with 3 rows. Now I think I just need to adjust these before I tie this off, and then attach the next row. Uh-oh, which way was this? I think it was like this. That's fine. It doesn't really matter. Okay, I've connected all of these this way. Now I still need to go this way. So I think the best thing is maybe connect these end pieces first. I think it don't really matter. I can just do those last. I'll just do the end pieces last, because all I have to do is connect those here and here. Yeah. So I'm gonna go down now and connect all these pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I will be back with that progress. Okay, I have the big panel all put together. I didn't like tie off all the ends so that I could adjust it and make it all flat before I tie them off completely. But now I'm ready to put the ends on. So I need to sew this one and this one onto there, this one and this one onto there, and then I'll just need to do the corners and we will have a bag. So I'll be back. Okay, I have sewed all of these together, sewed these ends like that, and now I have to sew here. This is kind of a weird shaped bag. It's very narrow. Now that I'm looking at it, it would have been better to use bigger squares, I think. But anyways, here we are. It's gonna be a long, narrow bag, but that's okay. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Maybe I'll just, I mean, it'll carry a project, right? So I'm going to continue sewing each of these ends here, 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 and here. And then that's where we're going to stop for today because I need your guys' help on something. So let me do that. Let me do this and I will be right back.
So those were the clips and I finally did get it all stitched together. And here is what it looks like so far. It kind of just looks like a big thing. I will say that these squares look bigger on camera than they really are. I think they're only like 5x5 or 4x5. They're not that big. So while this bag looks big, it's really only like 4.5 inches by 18 inches this way. And the only reason I know that is because I cut this little piece of foam board to put in the bottom of the bag so that it would, you know, kind of sit, you know, and look like a bag, you know what I mean? See, it's not that big, but I think it'll be big enough for just like a, you know, a skein of yarn in my project. And so now my next step, after I got them all sewn together, I did use the invisible join where you go in the back loops. I think that was a good decision because then it kind of makes all the granny squares like stand out. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I just didn't like the way crocheting them together looked. I felt like it kind of didn't look right. So I'm at this stage of putting this bag together and I need straps. And so I don't really know how the straps really hold up. But I know when you use acrylic yarn, it's very stretchy. And I feel like there's a way to make straps so that they're more durable. And what I want to know is if any of you guys that have experience using acrylic yarn and making straps, what stitch do you use? If you can comment below and let me know, I'm just going to look early in the week to see if anybody has some good ideas. But what I need is it needs like 2 straps to be handles. And I think I might put another a border along this side. What do you guys think? Do you think it needs a border? I feel like it does. So then maybe it would be a little bit deeper. Maybe. I don't know. I think it just needs a little finishing off. What do you guys think? There's the end ones. And then the sides. And then I'm also going to be making a lining for it. So then you won't see all the strings. I'm going to be weaving in some of the ends, but I'm not going to worry too much about it because this is a work in progress bag. And so the whole name of the bag is the work in progress. So, you know, I'm not really too concerned. I really just wanted to use my squares. So this is where we're at with the work in progress bag, and my hope is that next week in Granny Square Sunday, I will have this completed. I'm gonna look in my stash of fabric, and maybe in the community tab, I might throw up a poll and have you guys vote on an interior fabric color that I have. I'm gonna look through my stash and find a few, and then I'll let you guys pick the interior fabric color for this bag. That'd be kind of fun. So stay tuned to the community tab of my channel for that. And then also comment with if you've made handles using acrylic yarn, what's the best stitch to use. We'll link below the where I got this idea for this bag. It was, what was her name? I will link where I got the idea for this work in progress bag. She also has the, how to do the granny squares and stuff, but I just used, the granny squares that I already had made. So work in progress bag is still a work in progress. Now, the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is I saw Claire Montgomerie is coming out with a brand new card deck, and it is, this is the picture of it, and it's coming out in May. I might have to add that to my list of things that I want to crochet in 2025, because I had so much fun going through the first card deck that it kind of seems appropriate that I should do the second one, right? So that is going to do it for today's video. Hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe, because on Tuesday, we're going to be talking all things Valentine's, and I have found some pretty cool, cute, and fun patterns for you to try. So I hope that you'll tune in. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. This video. Twicky. We're pretty twicky. Oh my goodness. Anyways, but yeah, I'm crocheting these cards. I'm not crocheting cards. Crocheting squares from a book. Okay.